Here's what you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
Fidgeting can make it easier to lose weight. Many couples think that once they're married, all their issues with in-laws will disappear, but Steinorth says a marriage magnifies these problems, so if you're having family clashes with potential in-laws, it's best to resolve those issues before you get married. Just like couples can take out a loan for a house or a new car, there's been a huge surge in loan companies catering to wannabe parents.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
Visit the WOCA website at www.woca.com. Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA. Ocala.
All right, 25 minutes before 10 o'clock. Nice looking Wednesday morning. Hope you're doing well. I have a little story to tell you. I was here in Ocala. We have a lot of horse farms. I say that not for the benefit of our listeners who already know that, but for the benefit of our guest listening in. He'll be on the air with us in just a second. But we've got a lot of horse farms, and I was at one of those horse farms, and it might have been the one that your daughter was taking horse lessons with, Robin. I can't remember, but I remember somebody at the farm was talking about a new horse that had just been introduced into the group of horses, whatever you call a group of horses. And she was telling me that he's a natural-born leader, the horse. The horse is a natural-born leader. Uh-huh. And the other horses were responding to him as if he had, and you would think, isn't that weird? That happens in human, like we make a wrong presumption. We presume that if you're with an organization and you're not the leader of the organization, that seniority, eventually, if you stick around long enough, you will become the leader, right? Yeah. It doesn't always happen. Sometimes some young guy, some young woman comes in and he or she becomes the leader.
Right.
Why is that? It's. I'm sure the stories are as many as there are people who fit that description. However, what if it's our own fault? What if we feel we should be the one who is the leader? What if we feel like we're the ones who have the better ideas, and we are the ones who would be the best for the organization, whether it's a team or a business or a family? Of course, in a family circumstance, it's typically mom and dad. Can you imagine one of the kids is the leader?
Yeah, right.
Although there's probably examples like that. Greg Kozera is on the phone. He has experienced leadership in a couple of different roles in his life as a high school coach, as a Boy Scout leader. It says here he's an engineer with more than 35 years experience in the natural gas and oil industry. In that world, the one with the money is the leader, I think. Mm-hmm. He's a junior achievement volunteer, a church leader, the immediate past president of the Virginia Oil and Gas Association. So there, he was the leader, clearly. His book is called Learned Leadership. Leaders are not born, they're made. Discover 10 keys to awakening the leader within you. Fascinating topic, and somewhere along the way, we're going to talk about the soccer thing, too. Good morning, Greg Kozera. Good morning, Greg.
Good morning, Larry. Robin, good to be with you this morning.
Well, it's good to have you. Where are you right now?
I am in Virginia Beach. We're at the Virginia Oil and Gas Association, our summer meeting. And actually, this is my first meeting as the past president, so I can actually really enjoy the meeting and not have to worry about
yeah, right.
all the stuff happening.
Right.
Fascinating. You mentioned, it's interesting because as the dad, the grandfather, I'm supposed to be the leader of the family. And
right.
We had an incident happen a few years ago. We were down at Disney World, and I lost my granddaughter's sippy cup. It fell out and went into the track there at their monorail at the Contemporary. And it was my daughter that she kept working on me. And she said, Dad, we need to go get that cup. I went back to the Contemporary, and I'm thinking, they're going to give me give me your address, type stuff, and then we'll send you the sippy cup. And it was my daughter's leadership that got me to do that. And then the little girl, the lady that was running the front desk, she didn't call the manager or the VP. She called some guy with a blue shirt. And believe it or not, they shut down the monorail system in the middle of the afternoon and got us that sippy cup.
Oh, wow.
How wonderful is that?
It was unbelievable. And I got a picture of this guy in the blue work shirt handing the sippy cup to my granddaughter. And his mother's holding him. And I'm thinking, who's the leader there? It was Not me.
That's
it was
great.
Mary.
That's great. And well, maybe that's what it should be in humans anyway. The natural leader should be the one who, I guess, has the biggest passion for it. Do you think that's typically the case? The one with the most passion becomes the leader?
I think you're spot on because, I've seen that. And you can go back to President Kennedy and the space program, Dr. Martin Luther King, and you look at those people that have passion. That's really what drives things. Matter of fact, we had a business meeting on Monday, and the gentleman from my company said, we were talking to one of our clients, and he said, is that guy new in his job? And I said, why? He said, oh my God, Greg. He said, he's got the passion. He's been doing this for 15 years as the manager of my client. And he said, he's got the passion of a guy that just got into that position. He said, I'm blown away. I mean, here's a guy that's been doing this for 15 years, and he's still passionate. He's still excited about his project. And that drove my client's passion, drove my VP's passion to support the project. That's the power of passion.
Isn't that great? And Robert and I are in the music field as well as radio. And in music, it's typically the young people who have the innovative ideas and who rise to the. I mean, look at any old group. They're still playing the same songs that they wrote when they were 17.
Yeah. Now moving forward.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that the way it is? It's just the way it seems to be. But your thought is that natural born, gosh, there's probably some truth to the whole natural born thing, but I think what you're saying is true also, that if you're, I think this, you can learn to become a leader, but some people prefer not to. They prefer, you know what, I don't want to be a leader. I don't care. I want somebody else to lead me, and I'm fine with that. But that would never be me.
But you're right. I mean, I've seen we've been doing leadership teaching for, our high school seniors. That's what I think one of the things that differentiates our team from the rest of the teams is we actually teach leadership to our seniors. And we've been doing that since 1999, and we've won 6 state championships in the last 5 years now. Is that because I'm a great coach? I don't think so. But what's really neat is I've seen our team literally rose up an entire notch, a whole level, just because our young men became leaders. And that's and when I've seen it, you see it over the years. The difference is I can teach anybody to lead if they want to learn. And we've had some young men that didn't want to lead. Can't teach them.
Well, that I believe. But let me just counter what you said, because it sounds like as the coach, you're being a lot more humble than, well, humble is always good. But I think the coach is responsible for that passion to be infectious and for the team to embrace it, and for everybody in the team to have somewhat of a leader element to themselves, and that is a direct result of a good coach. If it wasn't, then why would a coach make so much difference on a team? Coaches always make.
Your point. You're right. Your point's well taken, because I guess what I see is that one of the big differences when we get those young men to lead on the field. That's kind of that 12th man, but no. Here's what matter of fact, I started this in the first year we started doing leadership. We typically won a couple more games than we lost, and that first year it was fascinating. I'll never forget. BJ was our captain, the only returning starter we had. We were rebuilding this team, guys, and I said, "What's your dream, gentlemen? Where do you want to be at the end of the season?" And BJ stands up, looks me in the eye, and he said, "Coach, we want to play for the state championship." I'm looking at him, I'm thinking, are you nuts? I'm thinking, where did this come from? It wasn't like we've been talking about state championships, and it was even more powerful than that. There's 2 teams that we had not beat in 15 years that we had to go through to get there. I'm thinking, and here's the thing. I was so close to saying, BJ, that's a great dream, but let's aim a little lower. And I did. I just said, okay, we got a lot of work to do. And he convinced me that we could do this, and together with the seniors, we convinced the rest of the team. And when I go back and think about this, I was in '99 before we had won anything. At the end of practice, I'd get all the boys together and I'd say, "What's the goal?" And it was like to beat the next team or do something. And I would jump in the air and throw my arms up and scream, "What's the dream?" And they'd all yell to play for the state championship.
Oh wow!
Wow!
And that year,
I love
against
that.
all the odds, we did it. We literally. And there's stories that'll just knock your socks off.
I love stories like that.
That got to that point, and we had to come from behind in the state semifinal game. We were down 2 goals at halftime. We came back to tie it. We ended up winning in a shootout, and the kid that scored the goal in the shootout that put us in the state championship game that year, In 2012, my wife was in a serious car accident, broke her neck, and Sunday morning we're in the hospital, and these 5 doctors come in, and I look at them. I said, "Oh my God, I recognize that one doctor." And as they're leaving the room, this young man says, "Coach, do you remember me?" And I said, "Nathan Keister, I'll never forget you. He was the kid that scored the goal in 1999 to put us in the state championship game, and he's my wife's doctor for 5 days."
Wow.
Wow.
What's the odds of that happening? And guess what? My wife's dream that year, she's laying there with this gash in her head, and you talk about leadership. She's got this gash in her head, and she's got all these tubes, and she can't move. She's got her neck broken, and as these doctors are leaving, she says, "Doc," and the head trauma surgeon comes up, and he leans over her, and she says, "We've got a trip to Disney planned the middle of May." This was the middle of April. She said, "Is there any reason I can't go?"
Oh my gosh! Wow.
And the doctor just loses him. He starts laughing, and he says, he said, "It might be a little rough if you drive." And I said, "Well, I got plane tickets." He said, "No problem."
Isn't that great? So,
Wow.
And she did it. I got a picture of her in front of the haunted mansion with my oldest granddaughter in a wheelchair, but she made it. But the thing was, again, her attitude, and that's one of the things about leadership. Leadership is an attitude. And she set the tone. She said, "This is where I'm going."
Absolutely.
And he said, "Go for it." And the next day, Monday evening, that was Sunday, Monday evening, Nathan, who's her doctor, former player of mine, they get together, and my wife is in a walker, but she's walking up and down the hall, and I'm blown away. I'm thinking, just like 24 hours before that, she can't hardly move. This is unbelievable.
Oh,
but
wow.
That's what leaders do. If they once they know where they want to go, then all of a sudden everything starts to, people follow them. And
that's
make things happen.
absolutely right. And in the face of fear, to bring politics into it, not intentionally, but because we often assume that a person elected into an office is going to be our leader, and quite often they're not. After September 11th, the first leader to emerge from that was Rudy Giuliani. Like him or not, he was the one who the nation looked to and said, "Oh my God, look at that guy marching down the street. Everybody's following him. He's standing up to this thing." Even if it was symbolic, it still kind of united us.
Right.
And then the president stepped up to the plate after the fact, and he went over to the side and he said, "Whoever knocked down these buildings, they're going to pay for it," which of course put him in a leadership position. But so did David Letterman. The speech he made the first time he went back on the air after the tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and in a way, so did Howard Stern.
Yeah.
I mean, we had quite a number of people who were national figures, political and non-political, who made statements that made us feel like, yes, we can. Look at the people who did the songs. That guy who did the song "Five for Fighting" guy.
Yeah.
Superman or whatever that was called.
Right. Yeah, that was good.
I love this
That's the thing about leaders, because when times are good and people are in leadership positions, it's easy. But that's where in challenging times you can go back to our history, the Revolution, the Civil War, World War II, and like you said, 9/11. Isn't it amazing how those great leaders actually rose up in the middle of all that stuff,
right?
To stand out.
Yeah,
That's
the FDR statement of the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. I mean, that is clearly a leadership statement.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Greg, we're not done yet, but we should take a little break. Because the leader of me is my boss, and he says you got to take a break. So, we will take a little break and be right back. We haven't even talked about FIFA. Is it pronounced FIFA or FIFA? That's in my notes? To me, that was the less interesting part of this, to be honest. Greg Kozera is on Learned Leadership is his book. We'll be right back with Greg after this.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. It'll be partly sunny today with a thunderstorm around this afternoon and this evening, high 89 to 93. Then partly cloudy overnight, low 72 to 76. Tomorrow, sunshine mixing with building clouds. An afternoon and evening thunderstorm or two, the high 88 to 92. For Friday, times of clouds and sun with a couple of showers and thunderstorms popping up in the afternoon, the high 88 to 92. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Central Florida Eye Institute is the area's leader in laser vision correction. From high-definition refraction surgery and LASIK vision correction to custom cataract, glaucoma, and diabetic treatment, you can count on Dr. Crowley and his effective, friendly staff to provide you with the quality care you deserve. Call 352-237-8400 for an appointment or more information. That number again is 352-237-8400. Looking forward to service your vision needs.
Hey, Matt, I know Sunrise Automotive does auto stuff, but I need some tires for my truck. Can you recommend someone?
Yes, I can. We do that.
No, I mean, I need them installed and balanced and all that.
Yep, we do that.
Well, my son needed his windows tinted.
Yep, we do that.
I need my
too.
seat replaced.
Yep, we do that too.
I need a new roof line, and a new spoiler, and a new
Yep,
trunk.
we can even do that too.
Okay, I get it. I suppose you can also do a radio show too, huh?
Well, as a matter of fact, join me every Monday at 10 for auto repair with personal care here on The Source.
Of course you do.
Do you have areas that have started sagging or drooping? Is what you're looking at not quite the same as it was years ago? Are there enhancements you've been putting off? Is there serious damage you need fixed? Then call on us, Damage Control Services, when your roof is sagging and the drywall is drooping after a storm, or your home just needs some enhancements. From damage repairs to new construction, Damage Control Services is here to help.
Hi, I'm Leah Caruso with Strive Rehabilitation, inviting you to join me Thursday at 11 a.m. for Health Matters. Ocala Health and Strive have teamed up to bring you the latest information on good health services available to you right here at home. This vital information will help you make informed decisions about your health. So don't forget to join me here at 11 a.m. Thursday. It's news you can use from Ocala Health, Strive, and your friends here at WOCA.
Hi, I'm Seth with AA Lock, Dock, and Security. Have you ever thought about the locks or security on your house or business? Have you ever wondered why the keys to your new car cost so much? Well, at AA Lock, Dock, and Security, we can help with securing your valuables. We can even replace those expensive transponder keys. We can give you the knowledge that no one else will. Call AA Lock, Dock, and Security at 867-1965. That's 867-1965.
All right, 9 minutes before 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Greg Kozera is on the phone. Learned Leadership is his book. It's a small but very impactful book. It's typical of a leader, right? They know how to get things done without wasting any time. Discover 10 keys to awakening the leader within you. It is a topic that I've wondered about much of my life. As a kid, I remember seeing little kids in my class that were the leaders. I was not the leader when I was a kid, a little kid anyway. And I was always in awe of them. And then I got reacquainted with them on Facebook, and I wondered if they remained leaders later in life, and they did not. They don't appear to be anyway. So the born leader thing, maybe not as long-lasting as the learned leader thing. Maybe that's what I want to say. Greg, are you ready to take some phone calls?
Absolutely.
All right. Good morning. You're on the air with Greg Kozera.
Yes, good morning. Good morning. Admiral Halsey said something a long time ago. He said there are no great men, only ordinary men who through extraordinary circumstances face great challenges.
There you go. I love that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm going to say. Have a good morning, all.
Thank you.
One of the things that impressed me about you, Greg, is that you managed to bring out everybody's talent, and then as they work together as a team, you encourage balance, and everybody's egos have to be checked at the door because it's not about the individual, it's about the group to move forward.
You're right, Robin, and I think that's the challenge I think all leaders face is, and I think when you look at, I read about Ronald Reagan, I think that was one of the things he did so well is he surrounded himself with good people, and he had the confidence in them to stand back and let them do what they could do best. But that's the key, I think, is getting everybody together on the same page towards a common goal. And, one of the things that I see that separates what I'll call a manager from a leader, particularly in industry, is the leaders are willing to let people rise to the. In other words, I should never be intimidated by someone that's on my team, because if
Because they're on your team. Right, they're on your team.
Well,
yeah.
Well, yeah, but more importantly, sometimes people think that they have to be the magic as the leader. If I'm the sales manager, I've got to be everything. No, I don't. I should have people on my team that step up and take care of those things that I'm not so good at. So we should never be intimidated by those that are part of our team. If they're better than me in a certain area, great. Let them shine. And I think that's the real key that we don't do so well in a lot of areas. That the whole encouragement. One of the things that people lack today. I do a lot of speaking to groups, and when I get particularly young people together, I'll say, "How many of you been criticized for something in the last 2 weeks?" What do you think? Everybody raises their hand, right? And then I'll say, "How many of you been praised for something you did?" And at best, I'll get 20%, guys. And that's kind of sad that somebody hasn't said, "Hey, thanks for doing this," or "Boy, I really appreciate what you did here." And that's what I try to do even on our team is we get more done by encouragement.
Absolutely.
I'd rather praise someone when they made maybe distributed the ball and made something good happen or whatever. As opposed, and the thing is, if it's time to criticize, we need to do that privately instead of a lot of people, in front of a group. And one of the things I've taught my seniors, because they always struggle with trying to get things done on the field in the midst of battle, so to speak. And of course, sometimes they feel like they need to yell at someone and say, "Hey, pick it up." And they said, "Coach, every time I do that, I get a lot of pushback, and we're in an argument on the field." And I said, "Here's what you do. It's real simple. You look at your player that maybe isn't hustling the way you'd like him to, and you look at him and you say, Joe, Sam, Phil, you're better than that. And you can pick it up. You're better than that." And I said, when you've done that, you've told them that they're not at the level you want them at, but you've also told them that I believe in you. You're
there you
better
go. That's
than
right.
where
Absolutely.
you are. And it's amazing. They don't get to fight on the field. All of a sudden, you see these underclassmen starting to pick it up a little bit. And that's the excitement.
And they probably will use that same technique later on in life. There was a thing I read about morale in a corporate setting, and that a raise in pay will increase morale for a shorter period of time than a write-up in the company newsletter. If I spotlight somebody in the organization in the newsletter, I put their picture, I do a little story about them, they're glowing for a lot longer than a raise, a financial raise. So.
Oh, absolutely. And that's one of the things I think in corporate America, a lot of times, I've been involved with leading teams that I don't have any, quote, authority over. And one of the best ways to lead a team in corporate America is if someone on that team, maybe then they're not my direct report, they report to someone else, but if they've done something great, I don't only just tell them. I'll send an email out, and I'll send it to their boss, and I'll send it to their boss's boss. And you think about that. That's the one thing that we can't do. I can't tell you how great I am, but anybody else can. That's the thing that
right.
I can do for them that they can't go to their next level of management and say, "Hey, look how good I am."
No.
But if I tell them that, "Hey, Joe did a great job for me. He's da-da-da-da." I mean, and all of a sudden what happens is people want to do better. They like that. Hey, send another one of those emails. Boy, that was great.
Absolutely. The exception to that might be Donald Trump. He has no problem telling people how great he is. So.
Yeah, well.
He
doesn't need anybody.
I really love this. I think what you are doing with the book is you're showing people that they don't have to, nothing wrong with playing second fiddle, by the way, especially if you're in the orchestra, but but you can rise to become the first fiddle, so to speak. Learned leadership. Leaders are not born, they're made. Discover 10 keys to awakening the leader within you. I have a copy of the book that Greg wrote right here. Call me if you want the one that was sent to us, and I will put your name on it. It'll be waiting for you. The rest of us have to go buy it somewhere. Is there a recommended way to buy it? Is it on Amazon,
Sure.
your website?
It's on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, all the major book places online. And you can go to my website, gregkozera.com, and you can get the book there. I've got an online leadership course that'll be out here directly. We had a New York award-winning producer, help us put that together. And there's some other. We're going to have some other leadership articles on there that people will be able to get and download for free.
If you go to gregkozera.com, you'll find it, as he mentioned. But I wanted to say that Robin already has that website on our WOCA site, on the guest list site. So the spelling, however, is Greg, Greg. Kozera is Kozera, gregkozera.com. But it is, in case you can't write it down right now, it's already on our site. Greg, thank you so much for being on the air with us today. You've given us some great stories, great inspiration, and proven that you are a leader.
Well, thank you.
Were you not a natural-born leader? Were you not born this way?
I think I'd like to think I've grown into it.
Grown into it. Well, that's my story. My story is I was when I was a kid. The only thing I was the leader over was my hamster. Everybody else.
I'm not sure. We had a dog. I'm not sure he didn't leave me even when I let him.
Yeah, you're probably right. Even with the hamster. Thank you, Greg. This is WOCA Ocala. We'll be right back.
News Radio. I'm Lillian Wu. We'll be hearing about a major change in the nation's hostage policy today.
Families who pay ransom to secure freedom for